It's Prime Minister Modi's first visit to the United States after Trump has taken charge in his second term. It's an important visit, but on many points, why is it strategically important, especially as far as India is concerned? Because we've seen Trump go wild with all his threats of tariffs, and he's in the past also said, well, India does put a lot of those, so we're going to give it back to them. So, should India be worried on this trip?
I think we've already had the measure of Trump in his first term, and for all the bombast that came with it, he was also very, in a sense, understanding of India's position. And do remember that he is the one who revived the Quad and gave it direction, and we are glad for that, And the Quad is expanded to cover a lot of issues. Yeah, there are issues about trade between India and the US. These are of long standing, and nothing can't be, it's not, we can easily work things out, provided there's an element of common sense on both sides. They want something, we want something. So the way I see it, a compromise is possible. And if you look at our budget, we made some concessions and tariffs on certain items that are made in America. I'm sure there'll be more that Modi will offer. There's some talk of buying more military hardware from the US. That'll make Trump really happy. So we need to be positive and be clear that where our interests are and how much we can give.
All right. The first flight, it was a US military aircraft, flew the farthest. In fact, all the other delegation flights involving military aircraft have been to nations that are very close to the United States. And it's not a cheap option. It's a really expensive option, with some estimates even saying that the flight that went to Guatemala, it cost the US more than $4,000 per immigrant. So obviously Trump wants to make a show of things. India has said it's willing to accept any illegal immigrant back, especially if they have violated the norms of another country.
Yeah.
So given this, India obviously completely understands how volatile Trump can be. And in that sense, we would be fully aware of where our vulnerabilities lie.
I think we also should understand that more than anything else, Trump has to make a point to his MAGA constituency. He's promised them that he's going to start chucking out illegal immigrants from day one. And by billing this as a national security operation, is justify the use of a military aircraft, shackles on these guys, and sending them out. It's going to play out in every American television screen. And as far as the ordinary American Joe is concerned, Trump is my man. He's doing what he promised. But we also need to get our act together. It's we can't have our own people going in such mass numbers, and that too illegally to the US. And more than anything else, most of these people don't have any qualifications or skills. So what on earth are they going to do in the US? Or even Europe for that matter? So I think there is already a crackdown beginning on these illegal travel agents. Jaishankar had reference to it in Parliament. And there needs to be a crackdown there. Then there needs to be a kind of awareness program built up that people who are going there do it legally. There are migration and mobility agreements we are signing with a whole lot of range of countries, and that's the ideal way to go forward. You have skills, then you can move anywhere you want. That's the message that must be sent down the line.
Is there worry on legal immigration and legal immigrants from India, because that's also a huge chunk? More than 70% of H-1B visas go to Indians.
Yeah, I think that's something which is on the mind of the MEA. Modi would have also been briefed about it. And the fact remains that the bulk of the visas are cornered by Indians because there are no other takers. And like it or not, there's a high level of engineering and technical skills that Indians bring. So this is something that the American industry understands. And they do want H-1B guys, but there's been this huge controversy about it. So obviously that has to come down a bit. There may be some grandstanding on H-1B, maybe temporarily it will get disrupted, but I think the way forward it will continue and it will build up, because we have the skills which are not there in other parts of the world.
Okay. One final question on trade. Are there any particular industries you think are already keeping an eye on what exactly could come up and preparing for that?
I think defense is one. We have an Atmanirbhar thing going on, but the Americans want us to buy a whole range of military hardware, including, I believe, infantry combat vehicles, which are also being made here, but we may have to invest in a few hundred from there in order to keep that temper down. And some more areas maybe we can, agriculture is a no-no because we don't really need wheat or rice, we don't need milk. So what do we buy from them? Walnuts and pistachios and stuff like that. I think there have been some duty concessions already made, so that should be fairly okay. We really need to work out what we get in exchange. It has to be reciprocal, it has to be fair, and based on the understanding that India is at far lower level of development than the US is. So hopefully that's a message that should go down with Trump.
All right, thank you.